When I finished my field basing and I was going into student teaching, I honestly didn't know where I was going to be placed until literally 2 days before. And so if that happens to you, don't get anxiety, don't get in a heart attack. They're going to tell you when they're ready to tell you. Your university is going to tell you. And honestly, there's nothing you can do to force them to tell you sooner, because sometimes they don't even know. They're trying to get it together as they go. So just make sure you're not having anxiety about it, because initially I was like, okay, I know where I'm going, so I can see how far I have to drive. I can see what time I need to wake up in the morning. I can see what time I need to eat breakfast, etc., etc. So I could be there on time. I need to see where I need to park. I need to see all that, right?
SureFit Johnson, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell alerts.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel here at SureFit Johnson. If you want to be a part of the SureFit fam, all you have to do is hit the subscribe button. Simple as that, easy as that. Just go ahead and do it. This video is going to be all about my student teaching experience. Some people call it clinical teaching, student teaching. It's really the same thing. So I am not talking about field basing. I'm talking about full-blown student teaching when you go every single day. If you want a video on field basing, definitely let me know and I can do that for you, no problem. So I did my student teaching in spring 2019, and honestly I had the most amazing time ever. My certification is a EC-12 cert, so I had to go to elementary, middle school, and high school. So my field basing was in middle school, so when I was doing my student teaching, I had to go to 2 different schools, so it was split. So from January until mid-March, so right before spring break, I was at a high school, and then after spring break until May, I was in an elementary. So I got all 3 worlds, and I was able to see which one really sits well for me, my style and my personality. Honestly, right now I could definitely say I love them all for a totally different reasons, and middle school was definitely still my favorite. So first I did go to a high school. It was called Moody High School, and I was paired with a PE teacher. She also coached volleyball and basketball. The sports that I love so dearly are actually volleyball and track. My student teacher professor was honestly amazing. She got that job right out of college, and she's been there ever since, and she was the nicest lady in the world. She pretty much let me do whatever I wanted to do. She put the ball in my court. She didn't push me to do anything. She didn't make me do anything, but she also gave me that encouragement to go ahead and step up. She would say, okay, you can lead today, you can lead. And that can be nerve-wracking at first, but if you do field basing, then it should honestly be no problem. You kind of just have to push yourself out there to do it. Honestly, my personality is super like yay, 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 especially when it comes to kids. At first, I didn't know how high school students and me were going to mesh, because I am very close in age with them, but it actually went really well. In my eyes and my perspective, they saw me more as like a friend rather than a coach. So they would talk to me, they would have lunch with me, they would tell me, their concerns, their problems, their boyfriend, their this, their that, and I would be there to listen to them. But in the same aspect, I was still teaching, so I had to make sure that I was also getting on them and telling them, you have to do this, you have to do that. And so you have to have that balance, because when you respect kids, students, like, they'll have that respect for you too. And then when they know you care about them personally in their personal life, then they ain't gonna do nothing besides listen to you. There at the campus, I really couldn't go slow with learning the students and getting to figure them out. I had to kind of just jump in and get to know them quickly, because I was going to be teaching them very swiftly. I had to get 5 lessons done, and I had to have 1 recorded. My professor was going to come and watch 2 of the lessons that I did, so I made sure those were very well written out. And then because my student teacher, I don't know what they call it, cooperating teacher, My cooperating teacher was such a doll. Sometimes she didn't even really watch me teach. She would just say, I know you got it, because she sees me every day. She's like, I don't need a lesson to see that you're a good teacher. And so she would, give me the highest of the highest scores, and she would put in detail, like the things that I would do from day to day, and not just in a lesson. Because, in a lesson you can get very nervous, you can get tongue-tied, you can get stuck, and one lesson doesn't tell you how you teach, But honestly, I enjoyed that full experience. I loved working with the high school students, and I loved giving them lessons as well. So after spring break ended, I did go to an elementary school, which I absolutely loved, because the kids are so cute, they're so little, and overall, like, they want to hug you, they want to touch you, they want to squeeze you. And if you don't like little kids, I wouldn't work in an elementary. Or if you don't like germs, or you don't like being sick, because the kids cannot help but to touch you. So when I went there, I had my cooperating teacher, but he also had a para. And so my cooperating teacher, again, very nice to me. So was the para. They were extremely nice. I was honestly super blessed to get amazing teachers to work under, because I know, and I've heard my peers say, that they've been with some people that were not the best, right? So I got pretty lucky. And here, most of the time, I would make sure the students are sitting down. I would start the warm-up. I would teach lessons. I had to record a couple of lessons there as well, and I had to do 5 lessons. During your student teaching, you actually have to observe other classrooms. It is actually a requirement. So honestly, it was super easy, because I see every teacher throughout the whole week. And so I would basically, if I saw a teacher, she seemed nice enough for me to ask, or she seemed like, cool enough to, kick it in her classroom for a little bit, I would go and I would ask, like, what day is good for me to come to your classroom to observe? Is that okay with you? And of course they would say yes, because they used to student teach, and they probably may have had a student teacher. So they're very welcoming. One of my favorite observations was definitely a kindergarten class. The kids are so cute. They're just trying to learn how to write their name and spell, etc. And I was thinking, like, if I was not a PE teacher and coach, I would definitely do like first grade or kindergarten, because those kids are freaking adorable. The schedules for both of the schools were actually pretty different. When I was in the high school, I saw the students every single day, so it was fairly easy for me to build, connections with them. I would have them for 45 minutes plus. So it was good, right? And then when I was at the elementary school, I only saw them 2 times a week. They would rotate out the kids that were coming. Also, one thing that I forgot to mention is I had to be outside for the elementary. They didn't have a gym at all, and so it was really hot outside all the time. And the high school, fortunately, they had 3 gyms, and so we never had to be outside until it was track season. We were outside, but other than that, we was inside in the AC. And it's not that I have a problem with being outside, but summer heat in Texas is 100 degrees plus. All in all, my student teaching experience made me realize what worked for me and what does not, because we take, numerous amount of classes before we actually go and student teach. Even when we're field basing, we take some classes. Even while we're student teaching, we take classes. Like, I had to take classroom management paired along with my student teaching, and nothing really prepares you for working with kids other than working with the students. And I say that because you're reading textbooks and you're reading about students that are perfect. And when you go and you meet these students, they're not perfect. They have issues, they have problems, especially the schools that I was in. It was very low socioeconomic students. They live with their grandparents. They had single parent homes. They were on free and reduced lunch. And so in all 3 schools that I went to, they were all like that. Everything that your cooperating teacher does, you're not going to 100% agree with, or you may not be aligned with, but it is good to just know that you're there to learn, and whatever you do like or whatever you don't like, you can always remember that and put it into your own teaching, or wait until you graduate, you get a job, and you can use it in your classroom, which is the amazing thing. That is what student teaching is all about, especially when you go up to observe other teachers besides the one that you're paired with. In the high school, I was paired with my cooperating teacher, but besides the observations, there were a plethora of coaches, as you may know, because it is a high school, and high school has literally 5 coaches plus maybe 5 to 10 coaches per sport, and they cannot all teach PE. And so I would go with those coaches. Some of them would teach math, science, history, and one in particular taught criminal justice. He was literally like my favorite alternative to go to besides her, because he would talk to me, like in a very real manner, and he was also an ex-cop. So I would love to go to his classroom because I would see things that I could implement if I were ever to be in a classroom setting into my class, because being in the gym and being in a classroom is not necessarily the same, especially if I were to become a health teacher, because I could definitely see that in my future. So then I would have to implement classroom structure type things. So I loved him for the classroom, but I also would go with some of the other coaches that were in PE. I would go and I would stand next to them. I would pick their brain. I would ask them questions. I would ask them how they got their start. I would just ask them any and everything that came to my mind. And that is one of the good things to do, actually, is to ask tons of questions. It was one coach there, she actually did exactly what I wanted to do. She teaches PE, she coaches volleyball, and she coaches track. So I would honestly go with her a lot. Luckily, my cooperating teacher let me, like I said, she let me go do my thing, and she knew that I like to do the same things as the other coach, and so I would go with her often, especially when she was doing basketball, because to tell you the truth, I didn't care anything about basketball. I went for a couple of times to watch basketball, but I was not interested. So I would go with the other teacher, and I would just sit, I would look, I would listen. I didn't sit too much, but I would mostly walk around, and then sometimes she would just walk off, or sometimes she would just literally not come out, and I would be there with the students. And whenever that happened, I literally put on my teacher hat, my coach's hat, and I would literally tell them the warm-up. I would just literally tell them everything that I knew that she would have said to do. That's literally what I would do. And sometimes I think that my cooperating teacher and the other coaches, they would do that on purpose to test me, to see if I would just stand there, or if I would, get everybody in and moving. And of course, I'm not gonna fail that. And of course, I'm not going to fail that. I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do. So if you're ever in that situation and your cooperating teacher is not around, go ahead and get the kid started. Hope she comes in, and if she doesn't, keep on going. Just keep going, because one day you are gonna be a teacher, and you may be running late. Somebody might need to get started for you. And honestly, it just shows them, you know how to take initiative, and you're really ready to excel and be a great teacher. Shout out to you if you are still watching this video. Do not forget to check out my playlist and comment if you have any questions, or if you want a video on something, give me a thumbs up. And my next video, I am going to be giving you guys actual tips, because I feel like there's so many things to honestly say about student teaching. Experiences can be totally different, but there are some things that go universal that I can definitely give you guys a hand on. So again, if you want to be a part of the SureFit fam and you're curious, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, because it's free. And until next time, you guys, peace.
SureFit Johnson, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell alerts.